Jerry Reynolds is going to join us. Jerry Reynolds here, among other things, former Kings coach, GM, TV analyst, former GM of the WNBA champion Monarchs. And he's also something of a football prophet because remember, Drapes, last week we were kind of teasing Jerry about, the Chiefs, they got the Bills this week. And he said, the Bills will beat them. Remember he said that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I love Jerry.
Yeah.
Because he's, honest. He's not biased. He is a guy that shoots it straight.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, Jerry, given that it looks like Brock Purdy's not playing this week, I'm asking for a friend. Is there any more room on that Chiefs bandwagon?
Well, now here's the thing. I was reading a quote from Thomas Jefferson just earlier today. It said,
fun times in the Reynolds household, huh?
Well, experience brings wisdom. And let me explain this to you younger people. I got gobs of friggin' wisdom.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So whatever you need from me, I can provide it.
Yeah, you do. Well, without fail. What do you make, Jerry, of the Kings' 8-7 start?
Well, I think considering the schedule and the injuries, I still think they might have been maybe one game better, but that's it. I think we'll find out more as we go here. I'm not trying to, I think it's like the whole West. It's pretty wide open still. I mean, even the top teams have looked vulnerable. Who we thought would be the top teams. Oklahoma City, Dallas, Denver, Minnesota. It's not like they've just went out there like Cleveland.
Yeah. Hey, Jerry, as a coach, I look at what Mike Brown's doing. The team probably not performing the way fans want them to. As a coach, how do you address outside expectations and the roller coaster that fans are on game in and game out?
Well, I think, as a coach, you've kind of got to approach it like, I remember Jeff Petrie always saying, if you want to lead the orchestra, if you want to be a conductor of an orchestra, you have to turn your back to the audience. And I think that's, he can't worry about the fans. I mean, you got to respect them and love them, but you've got to make decisions based on what you think is best for the team. And it may not always be what we as fans think is the best.
Yeah. Hey, Jerry, I know that you are going way, way back, big Oscar Robertson fan. And today the Big O turns 86. One of the great players in the history, of course, of the game, certainly the franchise. And then we had De'Aaron with that incredible scoring output this weekend. I'm not comparing De'Aaron Fox to Oscar Robertson, but have you ever seen anything like what De'Aaron Fox did last weekend as far as the scoring?
Well, the only thing I saw both of, a couple of the games of Tiny Archibald when he had Tiny in his prime, when he was MVP and led the league in scoring and assists. And honestly, I thought De'Aaron's achievements were, he scored more points, but it was that caliber.
Wow.
And Tiny, for 3 or 4 years was probably the most dominant guard in the league. And De'Aaron, well, it's just amazing. I think he proved, what we all hoped and thought he could be, and then some.
Jerry Reynolds joining us. Jerry, I'm just watching this Clippers video board out here, man, and it's nothing like I've ever seen before. You've been around arenas and everything. Just talk about how the NBA, the game of basketball, has morphed more so from basketball to like entertainment. Now you got to have an experience when you come to the arena.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I think has been remarkable. I mean, I hate to give marketing people too much credit, but for the price they charge for tickets, they ought to be a lot of entertainment going on. And but like I say, of course, being old school, I remember kind of like you might with the old Boston Celtics. When you go there at the Garden, and halftime, the entertainment was they rolled a bunch of basketballs out the middle of the court, ready for the teams to come back out and get them. and you generally speaking, you left the building feeling pretty good about your experience.
Yeah, I know that's when a lot of people said, okay, the line has been crossed. When the Celtics actually had, team dancers, a lot of people thought, well, that's it. There's no going back here because if the Celtics are doing it, those days are here to stay. Speaking of markets, you mentioned marketing, Jerry. What type of player? We don't have to get into specific names if you don't want to, but what type of player would you be keeping an eye open for in the trade market right now if you were still the GM of the Kings?
Well, I was listening to you guys mention several of the players, and I'm probably like you guys. I'd like Robert Williams the third a lot, except he doesn't play.
Yeah.
He's averaged 35 games a year in his career. Mm-hmm. And I'm like Kyle, I think had mentioned if you could just feel like you could get 60, I'd jump on that, but there's no reason to believe you can. Mm-hmm. And then the other guys, Vucevic, he'd help you offensively, but I'm not sure he solves any of the problems. Valanciunas, if he could be a kind of a happy backup, certainly would help. I don't know that he would see himself in that role. And then, Kelly Olynyk definitely could help. But then again, just the fact that Kyle wants him that bad, that's probably a big mistake right there.
All right, Jerry, you know what? You were my guy. I'm going to have to pull the my guy card away from you. Take it back, man. That's all right. I see how it is.
Give me another chance. I'll try to make a comeback.
Hey, Jerry, you talk about the names and everything, and I look at this Kings team. Here we are, 8-7, and they haven't clearly, performed up to their level. They've been injured. If you're Monty, if you're West, if you're the front office, have you even seen enough to know exactly who you are and what you have?
Well, I think you have. I mean, okay. It's like not to say the team can't get better, but I think you've probably seen enough to know that maybe you're a little light in certain areas because you're always wanting to make your team better, and you know who you got to beat. And so, in my mind, it's like, well, I still think, and I'd love to be wrong, by the way, that they got everything they need, but I still think they need some more size. That's just my opinion. And of course, the guy I wish they'd targeted if the Bucks continue to struggle and slobber around, maybe they'll be in the sell market and Bobby Portis might become available. Mm-hmm. And that would be an awfully good fit, I think. That type of guy.
Yeah.
That just makes you steps in and fills a couple of roles. But anyway, yeah, it's a good question, but I think you have to look at it just like I think some of the other teams in the conference that are good teams, they're looking around for help. So why shouldn't the Kings?
Yeah, like Dallas last year, they were very aggressive and they ended up in the finals.
If they don't make that move, they were not as really in a position not to be below the Kings, and they make that move, getting those two guys, and they go to the NBA Finals.
Yeah. I think I've hit on something here that I think is an absolute key to this team, and I'd love your opinion. I know that you will tell me if you think I'm wrong, but looking at this roster as currently constructed, I think one of the absolute keys for this team being as good as they can be is that, you've got three superstars who are very consistent. They're very consistent. I think your other rotational players have to be more consistent. And sure, that's true of any team, but I do think the Kings have some of the guys who are prone to, I had a good game. And then, again, what happened? And I think there's too much of that. I think they need the rest of the rotational guys to be maybe not great. I mean, if they're great, that's terrific, but they just need to be more consistent. They can't afford games where they're, I had a good game tonight, but then he disappeared. That I think is one of the absolute keys.
Well, no question. I think, especially with the injuries, you need, the Hurters and the Keegan Murrays to put up numbers, and you really need to be able to count on that a little more. I mean, certainly Keegan's defense has just been terrific, But the other thing I heard you guys talking about the shooting, we got shooters. What we need is makers.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's something as a coach you can't. Can you do anything for that, Jerry?
No. Other than try to, when you got guys are capable of making shots, it's try to keep them confident. That the worst thing you want to do is do anything to take away any of their confidence, because the guys going through shooting slumps, they don't need anybody on them. I've never seen a guy yet miss on purpose.
Well, how about, wasn't it Ricky Davis when he tried to get the triple-double by missing a shot?
That would be the exception.
And it was even the wrong end, right?
Yes,
Wasn't
yes.
it the other end?
Yes.
But then Ricky would be exception to many rules.
Well, speaking of shooting, does Keon Ellis, should he maybe be shooting more, Jerry?
Well, I think he should. I mean, certainly he should take every open shot, and I think this might be a good outing, to get him going to where everybody understands that he can make shots, and he should take and make shots. Certainly take them when they're there. And I think, too, with De'Aaron's great performances, I think he maybe clarified to himself, if he hadn't already, that yes, he can put up highly productive numbers by getting to the basket and into the mid-range. When you can get 60 points on 35 shots, you don't need to worry about anything other than doing what you're best at.
I got one.
Reynolds.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Go ahead, Whitey.
Yeah, I got one more for you, Jerry, if I may. You were talking about players that no one misses on purpose. Legend has it that the late, rest in peace, great Moses Malone, one of the stories you hear, phenomenal player, and probably as great as he's recognized for being, he's probably underrated. But some people would say, oh, Moses would miss on purpose in order to pad his offensive rebound numbers. He was good enough to do that. Do you have any indication that was something that Moses was good enough to actually do?
I don't think he did near as much as he's blamed for. I think he was a poor 3 or 4 foot shooter. But he was just a marvelous. He was so physical, that the Kareem and all the other big guys in the league, they just basically, he just beat them up, and chased the ball. But I'm not saying it didn't happen occasionally, but for any big man, you get a offensive rebound, and sometimes you're in traffic, so those aren't easy shots. But if he missed it, he'd get the next one. So I wouldn't attack Moses that way. No, he deserves the credit for just being an absolutely great player.
Yes, he does. Yes. All right. You done, Drapes? Is that all for you today?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Drapes is mad at me. Is he mad at me a little bit?
Yeah, he's pouting.
Unlike others, I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, are we going to break? Are we taking Jerry all the way up to 5? I got to produce on the road too here.
I can't believe he turned on me so quick,
Hey, the one thing we have in common, Jerry, is that we're not Niners fans, so we'll always have that.
And I tell you what, I think your Eagles are a real threat to my Chiefs. I really do. I think they're one of them, and I don't know Whitey's going to have to get these Niners straightened out. He's got a big job ahead.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, Jay and I got to work on that. Thank you as always, sir. We always appreciate it very much. Have a great weekend.
We will do. Take care, guys.